hopefully this is recording. Now, last week, I really enjoyed giving that talk. I really did. And I needed, in order to understand that talk, you needed to have all the physical props, correct?
Yes.
And so, what was it about? What was the talk about?
The shore
voice.
The shore voice? Shore voice. Right here, right? And what was that shore voice?
Rigid.
Rigid. What else?
The system.
It was part of the system.
Non-reflective.
Non-reflective. Confident. Knows. What I called 5 senses with a voice. Right? Just outward turned. Good idea. Let's go rob a bank. Right? Reasonable. Convinces itself that it's reasonable. Go. Okay? Then, and this, by the way, is outward turned, so it links toward, in St. Simeon, what level?
First level.
First level. So it's God is other, outward turned, looking up to God. Everything is out. Correct? Then what happened? What's next?
Thought.
2 voices.
2 voices. What do you mean you're going to go rob the bank? I don't think that's a good idea. Right? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. So this sure voice goes from one into a dialogue, correct? And this other voice that was always there all along, but we didn't listen to. So now we're actually hearing it, right? So now we're in conflict. We're back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. But I want to do it. It's the Gollum and Schmeagol thing, right? And this will a shout out to Aaron. Oh, Schmeagol, no! Frodo likes me. No, he doesn't. He doesn't like. Yes, he's good. He's good. No, he's not. And that's what we do all the time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do we win at all here?
No.
Ever?
No.
Ever work?
No.
We oscillate back and forth. Seasick.
torture.
Torture. Torture. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Do we have a choice? Could we do something else? Is there some other choice?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the authentic sure voice.
Okay. So this, too, is in regard to what, St. Simeon?
Second level?
Second level.
Second level. Thought fighting thought. Right? And as St. Simeon said, better than a moonlit night is better than no moon at all. This is no moon at all. This is moonlit. However, are we going to get anywhere?
No.
No matter how much. And he says, suffer the blows at night. You can't get out of it. Right? So it's not until here, 3rd level. Correct? What happens in the 3rd level?
You can hear your true, like, your voice, the true voice, God's voice.
Is this a sure voice or what kind of a voice is this? What's the difference between this voice and that voice?
It's clear and it can see everything.
It sees everything. It discerns. This judges. This is confident. And is this confident? Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah.
It's pure.
It's pure. It's just like, go ahead.
It's like untainted, unfiltered, direct
Yes.
discernment.
Discernment. Okay. People tend to get these two confused. And when people are doing the oscillating, they tend to want to go back to the shore, out I was better when I knew my way. I had a plan that never worked, but I had a plan. I knew where I was going and I never got there. But that was it's the way it worked. That's what all that is. This, when we're questioning, is a better place than when we were sure, but we keep on wanting to go back to there. Here, we're in the heart. Clean, clear, pure. We're off the grid. It's one voice, just like that's one voice. Well, this is a one voice, as David said, pure, clear, clean. Right? Third level, in the heart. And St. Simeon said this is the only way you can get anywhere. Okay, so that's what we did, pretty much. So the person who was videotaping that class at first got confused, so did this. Kept on going this. So there's a video, part of it is up from me up is missing. And at the same time from me down is missing. So I was like, okay. So did that. And then he went to here. Back to here. So even during my talk, people will practice this way and then go back to the heart and who they really are. So I need to tell you a story that comes from 1972. I was at Mills College getting my master's in dance, and I think it's called the College of Arts and Crafts, San Francisco College of Arts and Crafts, had wanted to film me dancing. And I agreed. Now you understand. You'll understand why I'm a little nervous about publicity. So I went to their studio and I started filming. They were filming me, I was dancing. And the film crew were obnoxious. They were rude. They were making horrible remarks. They were doing, I mean, it was just completely unprofessional. It was disgusting. And I then stopped. I went up, walked up to the camera, and turned the camera on the crew. And I filmed them. Be careful. I always had that tendency. That was before Baba. That was when I used this. And I just didn't suffer fools lightly. You gotta get here. Luckily for all of you, that's what Baba got me there. And so I don't use that anymore. And I wouldn't turn the camera on somebody now. I just walk out. You gotta practice. You don't want to practice this. And you don't want to practice this. You want to let go and hear and be here. And that means we all have to know our system. Because did you know you were in your system when you were doing it?
I did not.
Did you think you were sure?
Yeah.
You knew.
I made a decision.
You made a decision. That's the point. And every time we make a decision, how's it working for us? It doesn't work. It really doesn't. Oh my God. And there are times that we actually if we didn't make that decision and we did this, it would be completely different. But sometimes we have to do this in order to find out how bad it is. It's just we don't want to end up finding out from prison. So don't make a decision. Don't. So if you're unconscious, and that's a lot of people's excuse, I was unconscious. I didn't do it because I was unconscious. I did this because I was unconscious. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't my intention. I was unconscious. I was unconscious, unconscious. That means we're in our system. We have to know our system. Do you know your system?
No.
No. Do you know your system? Some.
Yeah.
So where you know, you can go, oh, there it is.
It's becoming clearer and clearer.
Whoa, I'm not, no. Oh, I don't have to do that again. Wow, that's cool. But what I don't know, lo and behold. So that should be the impetus and the motivation to become conscious. Wake up. All the saints say, wake up, wake up. Wake up from the dream. Because when we're in a system, that's exactly what it is. We're in a dream. Wake up. So be clear about this? Okay. So, a couple of things. I posted for, this is going to maybe go on YouTube, Joe Flacco. Failure is not a learning opportunity, it is a motivator. That's how you operate. Stop it. So what happens is we go back to failure, we work our way up to mediocre, and then we're a hero. Can you see that? That's like such a narrow area. Why do you have to keep on going back? And then struggle to come. Stop using failure. And how many people here in this room use failure to wake yourselves up? And then become motivated, and then all of a sudden you work, and you keep doing it. Because if you keep using failure, you have to use failure as your motivator, you have to keep failing. Instead of, oh, I can learn. I don't have to rob a bank, end up in jail for 25 years, and then learn. So that when I come out of jail, I don't do it again. Stop focusing on failure. Pull forward. This is where I am. Keep moving. I've learned this. How many times do you have to learn the same lesson? Because that's what happens is when you do failure, you have to then learn it again. That make sense? Yeah. Learn it again. Failure, run it again. Failure, run it again. Do you improve your skills? No! You don't even get new skills. Same thing. Failure, again. Failure, again. Stop it. If that's part of your system, then do a 4-square, failure, success, and find out what your positive for failure is and what your negative for success is. Because for other people, it's different. It's different. Find out what it is. Is this clear? Making sense? Okay. And there was one other thing I really wanted to talk about. which is part of this whole thing. Companion or competitor? Are you a companion and want to have companionship? Or do you want to be a competitor? Do you want to be colleagues or snake pit? What is it? And it's also in relationships, if you think about it, in a marriage or any between two people, are you companions or competitors? Are you fighting for the same spot? What does companion mean? Right? What does it mean to be a companion?
To walk alongside someone. And be a friend, be a source of support.
Yeah, but what does that mean to be a friend? What does it mean to be a friend? Because you can be a friend and be a complete competitor. You got to define those terms. What does it mean? Serious, what does it mean? What does it mean to be a friend?
Somebody who honestly cares about what's best for you. Even if that means being honest and saying something that might be difficult.
Okay.
You really want for that person to grow and to heal if they're hurting
Or be happy.
Or
What about being happy? Part of the problem is it's usually friends are perfectly happy to deal with somebody who is hurting and because then they get to be superior. How about when your friend is 1,000% happy? Not even 100%, 1,000% happy. They win and win and win and win. How happy are you for them? Heard that one. That's the thing. How, we did in yoga studio, how happy are you for somebody else's happiness? We're all about if they're miserable. We're hoping they'll be miserable because we're still competitors. How about when they're really doing well? Wow! Yay! When it's going to fall. Why isn't it me? I should have that. I want that. Why did they get it? Why did they get it and not me? I'm not like that. That's more. That's the question. How happy, truly happy are we for other people? I'm thrilled for you. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
what is it in when the person has a problem? There's something like appealing about that, or that makes you want to get involved, or something. Is that the superior? That's the superiority. What is it?
I'm a social worker now. I'm bigger. You've got I can be I can have sympathy. I can feel for you. You poor thing.
So it is about the superiority and the.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be.
Sometimes it's sincere.
Sometimes it can be completely sincere, and it can be genuine, and it can be you're still equal. But how many people do it as, whew, that feels better.
And what about from the perspective of the other person?
The other person,
Is looking for coddling, or
sometimes they're looking for coddling. So that's a small self to small self. If they're not, they'll be angry at their friend.
for
For not playing the role.
They'll be angry. If they don't want to be coddled, they'll be angry at their friend for what? Doing bleeding heart. You're condescending to me. No, We're friends. I thought we were companions. I thought we're together here. I'm having a hard time right now. Don't goo me. Right? Is that what you?
And what about if the person has some sort of problem that they don't see at all? I know we've talked about this a million times, but
That they don't see.
they don't see it, and the other person feels the person is in danger, or
Then it's important to speak up. Absolutely, you speak up. It's not about being at that point, if they're in danger, you're not being a busybody. You're not being a tattle or any of that sort of thing. You're actually caring and concerned. If how you say it, then, if you're really caring and concerned, you're not, and you're not just wanting to slam the person, you're going to go and you're going to say to them, you know, I know this might be hard for you to hear, but I need to tell this for you because I'm concerned for you. I'm really concerned. And I may be way off base, but this is the way I see it.
can I say another?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so with regards to the voices,
Mm-hmm.
if you're practicing, you're in the third voice,
Yeah,
or the third level, things don't always work out wonderfully even from there.
absolutely
So
not.
sometimes I'll think, well, I couldn't have done a good job because this didn't go a certain way, or I did do a good job, and it really had nothing to do with where I was. Do you know what I'm
Right. The physical plane, lots of times, is just going to do the physical plane stuff. It's just going to go about its business. You're going to do it. It's how you relate with it. That's why spiritual practice is not about you're going to get a parking space every time because you're in your heart. No, it is not the way. No, didn't get a parking space. I'm okay with that. It's off the point.
Mm-hmm. It's like no external checks. It's internal.
It's an internal. Yes, it's internal. So that I'm not looking for. It was like people used to say that if Baba were really realized, he wouldn't wear glasses. No, you're going to go through whatever your destiny is, and we'll see things from when we're in our hearts. We see, as we were saying about discerning. So, I don't have to step in that hole. I can see it, so I can walk over it. I have choice, but there are things that you don't have choice. And it's just going to go the way it's going to go. And I don't know why it went that way. That's the way God wanted it, because that's the way it went. And okay, I'm surrendered. Whatever God does, he does for good. But if I'm here, it shouldn't have gone that way. I need to change it. It's wrong. It's wrong.
So the Joe Flacco thing,
Mm-hmm.
he's in the Shore voice.
He gets short. Yeah.
And then he could have a bad game and be in the right place.
Yes.
Okay, that's just
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He could have a bad game and be in the right place.
And from the bad game in the right place, he has a lot more room to learn and
Learn and make choices, and he could actually, his vision, he could see, oh, yeah, in my mind's eye, there was a receiver over there. I can see. I'm looking back now. I did see. So next time I can see that I'll have more awareness.
This is like, you can be in the right place, but the unavoidable limitations are always going to be there.
Right.
And
And so that's where you can grow and learn more. But if I have that's not part of my deal, it's most of the time then I've got raw talent and it's a fluke. And I can work the plays, 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 but I'm expecting the receiver over here, and the receiver ends up having to be over here. I don't see him.
So you only like do those scenarios in your head again and
And
again
again.
and again. You're never really responding.
Exactly.
And that's what it looks like happens.
Which is totally the system.
What happens in the
Totally.
This happens to everyone.
Right, it happens to everybody. Everybody operates like that, and then this is the way it is. It's the way it is.
and you wonder why the world looks the same every time.
That's right. Why are we
Same
doing this
things
again?
happen.
Why are we doing this again? We're doing it again. We're doing it again. We are doing it again. Every election, doesn't it look the same? Doing it again. Doing it again. So, companionship. I did this thing. Most of you have seen this, right? Seen this? Okay. So, in a good relationship and companionship, this one is what I call parallel play. It's when sometimes I do something and the other person does, they do their own thing. They do their thing, and it's okay. It's okay. Everybody's okay with that. And sometimes, let's say I'm the circle one and the other one's the X, I do what they want to do. And I'm okay with it. It's appropriate. I do what they want to do. Other times, oh, they do what I want to do. I do what they want to do. I do what they want to do. We switch back and forth. Right? You do what I do that. And then we have activity that we both together, we do together. Yeah, what? Yeah, it's okay. See it? So, now, all four components. What happens in a relationship where I always do what he wants. I always do what she wants. What happens with that?
Resentment.
Spoken with truth. Right? Right? Clear? All right. I'll leave this up here. What about if we're always parallel playing?
No connection.
No connection. We have nothing going. What happens if we always do it together?
Exclusive.
What? Linked at the hip. Linked at the hip. We're exclusive. We're probably heading toward codependency. Need all four of these components. Make sense? This is more like companionship. If I only get that he only does some of what I like to do, and I always do what he wants to do, then we're in a competition. We end up being competitors. Have to be really clear. Do you want a relationship that's competition? Only time I want that is on the football field or they played left wing field hockey. When it's an honest, clear, out there competition. Academically, the best, going for the best, a competition. What I used to like that was very clear in Congress is that the two sides, because they weren't always Republican and Democrats, the two sides would ferociously fight. Then they'd go have lunch together. They were colleagues. They were together. They would go, the families would meet each other. The kids would play together. We don't have that anymore. It's just total separate. There isn't a sense of that we're all on the same page and we're companions. And then in this particular arena, because we're fighting for the best for our country, we're competitors, to work to see that whole thing of competition is to work to to unravel and to pull out the best possible program. We're now competitor, dueling programs. That's all we have. Dueling ideas. There's not this, oh, I agree with this, but this doesn't work. Oh, I didn't see that didn't work. Wow, you're right. We don't do that. That isn't happening anymore. And that's a problem. And then, where does it all start? Where does the competition and the companionship start?
Within each of us.
Within each of us. The two voices here, are they competitors or companions?
Competitor.
Horrific competitors in most cases.
Okay.
As we get clearer, they can be companions and they educate each other. But that's only once we get sattvic, pure. We have to purify. So we have it there. We have it in our nuclear family, however that family was set up. And then we take it outside of the house, and then ta-da. So we're having a cup of going for coffee. Right now it would be probably a cup of tea. Going for a cup of tea. We're sitting together, and you've spoken too much. We're now in a competition. Am I going to get a chance to open my mouth? And all of a sudden we're no longer companions, we're competitors. It wasn't a give and take. And this thing, if you look at it, there's a lot of give and take. Companions or competitors. And that's for each of us. And it's like the companions, so we're companions. All of a sudden we become that whole thing of being companions when they're having a problem. But more importantly, are we willing to be and encourage companionship when someone else is doing really well? Companionship with love. And giving up the fight. Ugh. The constant fight. So there's a new book called The End of Man or something. What is it? I think it's
The End of Man.
The End of Men. Yeah, The End of Men. Yeah. Supposedly bestseller right now. And this woman did interviewing. I haven't seen the book, just heard a little bit. Interviewing men who are pretty much, most of them are stay-at-home dads, and then decided that they couldn't, they're not handling it. Because she had a theory. It's sort of a science fair project. How many people threw out the data that didn't fit their premise when they were in the 3rd grade? Come on, come on. So all the data fits perfectly. So the data is skewed to say that men are not happy being at home, being stay-at-home dads, that there's anger and resentment. Now, I was a stay-at-home mom. Anger and resentment? Absolutely. Couldn't brush my teeth, couldn't take a shower. Yeah, you get angry, but these poor guys aren't allowed to do that. They can't have just regular anger and resentment. It's now seen as, because they're men and they're supposed to be, they're angry and resent that they're not out there living the life that their wives are are making more money and this whole thing. They can't handle it. And that's not necessarily true. And what's the main problem about that whole thing? It's using plumbing as the decider of how people are. No. We're humans, first and foremost. Why are we doing competition? Male-female competition. Why aren't we just being human? Why can't we? And I loved my job of bringing up 2 sons. Loved it. Wouldn't I want to give somebody else that opportunity to do that? And would it have to be a female? Was the only one that could have that opportunity? No. But that's how we're gender oriented. So if we do gender thing, we're in a competition. We're not companions. Can't be companions. We're in competition. Women's lib. Feminine movement. I hate it. Why? What did it do? What did it do? The women's movement. The women's movement. What did it do?
I think it further divided us.
It limits.
It made women give up feminine. It made women want to be men. Not women wanting to be women, just being human and fulfill whatever their destiny was to the best of their ability. It made them want to take on the traits. Oh, I can wear a suit. I can wear a tie now. I don't have to have kids. I don't have to. It destroyed feminine. There's nothing wrong with feminine. It's in both females and in males. Why didn't we encourage males to be 100% fully human and have female in them? And we keep our female, we get to keep feminine, female, and have a little male in it. Then we're all humans. Then we're not doing competition. But that isn't how we work. We're looking at the most ridiculous aspects of life to separate us. Plumbing separates us. When we die, there is no plumbing anymore. We leave this thing. We leave. So, male, female, we all go the same way. No more male, female. Much better. Human. Companion. Stop the fight. What's our birthright? Our birthright's love. Nothing wrong with that. And real love. Not that gooey stuff. Not as an idea, but as an actuality. Questions? Clear? Want to be a companion or a competitor? Much better companion. Go back here, get off the grid. Be at peace. Okay, let's take a few minutes.